going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome back again for part 2 here of our Tuffy Talk Live Show continuation episodes. Tuffy Talk After Dark, part 2, baby, here. So again, thank you all so much for tuning back in. Just as a reminder, again, if you haven't already, again, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're notified on all your devices whenever we go live with any Tuffy Talk content. And also, too, if you don't mind, if you enjoyed this video, give this video a like. And also, give us a follow Tuffy Talk now on Twitter and Instagram. So with that being said, again, we were talking about men's basketball, and obviously this is kind of hopefully, just like you said, eat it for sure. And it's tough. I think that for us, who have been on the boat of like, guys, we need to sell out PNC Arena. We need fans there. It's like, okay, listen, at the end of the day, now we're just gonna let Keats, finally get us one. And obviously, as of this recording, or as of this episode coming out, probably by that time we'll be preparing for the game at Miami, and that's a game going against 7-1 Miami. That if you can pull that off, I think all the NC State fans should finally be like, okay, you got my attention now, because I mean, again, Miami's definitely no joke, and playing at Coral Gables, I mean, it's gonna be interesting play for sure. But and then the interesting game too, which looking at the schedule here coming up, is December 22nd hosting Louisville, and man, that I'll tell you, like we were talking in during the live show about how, even though a lot of State fans may complain about in-state football, that, there's way worse out there. As much as, obviously we're not really thrilled with where we are in men's basketball, but we are starting to see a little bit of upturn. Dude, Louisville, man, like
Florida State.
In Florida State. But I mean, like, again, nobody, I feel like, puts more chips into a basket in the ACC as much as Louisville that has done with that. So I guess what I'm saying, let me take that back. Because obviously, yes, UNC, Duke got that. But Louisville cares a lot about men's basketball. Why? Because they got Kentucky to deal with. So if they're going to compete with Kentucky, they have to care a lot about men's basketball. And they did not have a win on the season yet, ladies and gentlemen. Like, this is a crazy time, to say the least, for sure, for Louisville men's basketball. And Louisville sports in general. Football is bad for them right now. What the heck they got right now?
Not a coach.
So, I mean, kind of talk a little bit here, like ACC wise. I mean, again, UNC is the first number 1 overall preseason to lose 4 games in a row, which, I mean, is, hilarious, to say the least, but it's also, thinking back, about, Duke is solid for sure. I mean, they're up there. But and obviously Virginia Tech is going to be solid. Virginia is solid, but it seems like it's going to be another weird year in the ACC. That's what it really seems like for me right now.
Yeah, Syracuse has not been really good. Notre Dame did have a nice win last week against Michigan State. That was a nice win in the Big Ten.
Virginia
ACC.
Tech beat Carolina in Blacksburg.
Yep.
So
without Armando Bacot, though, that's the only thing which I'll kind of asterisk I'll throw in there too. Which I don't know if that
but
is
they
a
lost
big
a lot of
difference,
other games with Armando Bacot this last week too. So
that's true. That's very true.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think Virginia Tech is probably going to be in a good spot this year. I think Wake Forest could be a sneaky team, but they don't have the same players they did last year. Virginia is number 3 in the country right now, and we're just going to not talk about them a whole lot. But
it's boring.
Yeah, Virginia is. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So that's their motto they're living by.
And real quick on Virginia, they had an off year last year by their standards for sure. I don't think they made the tournament. I don't think they did.
I don't think they did either.
No,
they did either.
Virginia,
so.
I don't remember. Don't remember. I think a team that I think Duke's going to figure some things out here. Obviously, all of these teams, it's not March yet,
still
so
early, yeah.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. But
once the calendar year flips over, it'll get more serious.
I honestly, I think State could be the sneaky team, one of the sneaky teams this year. I think people may overlook, but if you're going to lose to teams like Pittsburgh, I mean, that's just a joke.
I think you're going to have to, with the way it's looking right now, I think you're going to have to go at least 12-8 in the ACC, if not better.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Just like, this isn't going to be a year where you can go 10-10 in the ACC and get a tournament bid.
I think we're looking at probably 6, maybe 7 bids in the ACC, and that might even be high. It might be like 5 or 6, as it stands right now.
It's like a not so great year. I think the ACC, if they would want State if they can somehow get that. I don't want any of those teams, but I think Virginia Tech is going to be one of those teams. I think Virginia is going to be one of those teams. It'd be a good year for the Virginia schools when I think about it. But
ACC did win the Big Ten Challenge,
which is
I know.
Which I wouldn't have, if you would have told me the week before that, I would be like, no way. Like the ACC is not playing good basketball, but it's also against matchups too. I mean, if you match up favorably against one team, then you
can take advantage.
Yeah, it's one game. So, but
yep. So
and the last year of it too, by the way, we haven't really talked about that. Yep. So
going to SEC. Yep. Which I mean, to me, like, as somebody asked, like, what's the reason for that? And I mean, for me, I just just said, new blood.
Follow the money trail. You also remember too.
That's money.
Yeah. Pink Floyd. But the really, it's the ACC, and ACC and SEC relationship with ESPN.
Yeah.
Whereas Big Ten is more of a Fox sports network.
Got that.
So that's probably the main reason why for it.
True. So, but again, I mean, from a fan perspective too, like, I mean,
nice
if you could do NC State versus Florida or something like that, it's like, okay, cool, like, some new instead of having to play Brad Davison and the Wisconsin Floppers.
I still remember that game when we played years ago when they launched that 3-quarter shot of Florida against NC State to win the game. I still remember that. That's a bad example.
If that didn't go in, that would have changed Sidney Lowe's career forever. That's for sure.
Chandler Parsons. That was Chandler Parsons.
That was Chandler Parsons. Hey, look at you, Michael. Trivia winner right here.
Yeah, it's burned in my brain.
You can't unsee it.
Yeah, you can't unsee it. So, all right. So, so definitely a game. I think where we are with men's basketball is just, patience. Obviously, I mean, by this point, Copeland State would have played. Hopefully, we'd take care of that. Not really too much there. But I do got to say, though, one thing we do got to talk about, those throwback unis, though. Ooh, golly, man. Here's the thing. Because, again, it's not only just how cool they are. It's me thinking about them playing in Reynolds Coliseum. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, why that everybody's talking about social media. Those should be the baseline.
That should be when you play jerseys. Carolina.
No, they should do that that literally should be the jerseys we use all the time. These jerseys that are like the old school kind of looking jerseys are so sweet. They needed. I don't know why they don't stick with that. They feel like the need to go and do something flashy, more modern. And maybe. Yeah. Well, I wonder if it's just because they have deals they have to do with Adidas and has to make new stuff. If it's always the old stuff. It's not really innovative there, but I don't know what the deal is. I love those jerseys so much more than some of our other jerseys we've done. So,
so speaking of Adidas and their competitor, does anyone have any thoughts on Under Armour moving in on campus?
Well, and see, Mick and I were talking about that at dinner last night, and because obviously the reason is because NC State has one of the best textile schools in the country. So, Macon, since you are a textile graduate, let's hear your thoughts, my man.
Well, it's not just the country; it's the world. So I'm gonna make sure I admit that it's literally number one in the world.
Yeah, go for it.
So I don't know. I think that I don't really know what that's got all to do with it. I think that's purely business at this point. I don't think it's got anything to do with jerseys or anything like that.
Macon wears his Under Armour.
Yeah, I see what you did.
It's like the one. It's how hard it is to find NC State. Yeah. I got this at the Red and White shop when I think it was technically called the Go Pack store at that point. So.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember the Go Pack store.
I think it's I think it's strictly like academic. Like
no, they make some NC State stuff. Nike, you can probably find old Nike stuff. NC State.
Yeah, I got some stuff.
But going back to the jersey, the whole point of the conversation, I love the new jerseys they're going to be wearing for this game in Reynolds. I really wish they would do more games with those kind of jerseys.
That's what I'm saying. They need to wear that for the Carolina game, the home Carolina game.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Because it'll be in February, so that'll be officially the 40-year anniversary. Because now you'll be in 2023, whereas they're wearing it. This one is technically 2022. So, pull them back out for that game. So.
Well, and the one thing which I will say, as it just kind of disclaimer to all NC State fans, is Under Armour's not doing too hot right now. So if anybody can go ahead and get your Under Armour shoes while you can, I mean, that I'm just throwing that out there. So maybe this move with the NC State thing is kind of like a last ditch effort. Like let's see if we can pair up with the best textile school in the world, and see if that can help us figure some things out to keep us relevant. But also too, it just goes back to now, because I mean, you think back to when New Balance was the sponsor for Boston College, doing their jersey, stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself here, going, man, I'm so glad we're Adidas. Like, Adidas is so nice.
Argue even worse, Russell Athletic for Georgia Tech.
That's right.
That was the
That's
one I was
right.
going to bring up.
Yeah.
So, but it's crazy though. Think about that. I mean, we are on the cusp. I mean, if Under Armour really does go belly, which is crazy to think about, because like, what about? I mean, we talked about Maryland. What the heck is Maryland going to do?
They're the flagship.
I mean, they're the Oregon to Nike that for Under Armour. I mean, like, what the heck is Maryland going to do? What is South Carolina going to do? I mean, South Carolina's a big Under Armour school.
Wisconsin, I think, is a big Under Armour school too.
Yeah,
they were at one point.
I know they were Adidas at one point. I don't know what they are now. I know Under Armour was big with
Northwestern.
Yeah, I know Northwestern. Under Armour was big with Notre Dame for a minute and UCLA. So, but they both of those schools got out of that contract. So,
yeah,
very interesting, very different for sure. So definitely again, just FYI about Under Armour for those who didn't know that already. Make sure to keep an eye out because it could. I mean, it's an anytime deal. So with that being said, though, I wanted to finally jump back into here talk about some. Actually, before we talk about women's basketball, let's go and talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Trea Turner. Man, I mean, dude, I'll tell you, NC State baseball, and this is what I'm saying. NC State baseball is in the best position as a program it ever has been because of a lot of reasons. First of all, obviously the Doak Field renovations. I mean that is a huge recruiting tool. Being like, look at this new tool you're about to get here. But also too, on top of it, you literally have Trea Turner now getting 11 years, $300 million by the Philadelphia Phillies.
And that's guaranteed money too, because baseball contracts are guaranteed.
Baseball's guaranteed,
not like NFL.
Right.
So.
Right. And then
there's no cap. There's no cap. I can pay them whatever they want to. That's
right.
Crazy.
Right. And then Carlos Rodon, I don't know if he got signed yet. But he'll get signed somewhere.
The rumor is he might be going to the Phillies too.
Right. Oh, that'd be so sick. So again, I mean, like, that's two huge recruiting tools right there, being like, hey, listen, y'all, we brought in two guys that were, I mean, well, Trea Turner wasn't really overly highly recruited. No. Carlos Rodon was pretty highly recruited. Yeah. But I mean, we took Trea Turner to now being the only guy in MLB history that let me bring up that stat one more time. This is a pretty crazy stat. So the players in MLB history with 1,000 hits, 100 home runs, and 200 stolen bases in their first 1,000 career games. There's only one guy, Trea Turner. Like, that's crazy to think about. That right now an NC State baseball player is arguably the best shortstop in all of baseball right now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All of baseball.
That's just it. He does everything. And we're not you just laid out his offensive stats. His WAR is off the charts good. And he's a really good defensive shortstop. Like, people don't give him enough credit for his defense.
I was really sweet clips of him slides.
Oh yeah. That home sliding home was probably one of the coolest. Did you ever see the one? I think it was they played it to Smooth Criminal. Did you ever see like that version? Oh my goodness, that was like so good.
Yeah. But gotta give a shout. I think Corey Smith from Pack Pride was one that put that together. So shout out to
was
him.
it?
But go ahead.
Oh,
Greg.
I didn't know who put it. I just remember seeing it. But I'm still better he left Washington. I always enjoyed going to the ballpark and watching see him, every game. And just, now he goes to my most hated team in all of sports, the city of Philadelphia. So it's going to pay me to root for him. So I'll root for the man, not the team.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. Well, again, I mean, all we can hope for is that, maybe a 0.5% of that $300 million can make its way back to NC State. Maybe that'd be nice, but I mean, I know he's been involved.
1%, Carl.
1% of 1%.
1%.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, it's like the
30
investing.
million. 30 million.
Yeah.
30 million. 1%. Oh, 1%. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, 1% would be 3 million. Excuse me.
Yeah, I said 3 million. Yeah, I thought that number was right.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
No, it's okay. My math's not good. I don't know fingers and toes.
So, but point proven is that, I mean, with NC State baseball, I mean, right now it's a great time right now, and because the beautiful thing too is I think it's pretty much written in stone that, I mean, Avent will be here for a few more years, and then Coach Hart will be the guy taking over, because there's no other reason why Coach Hart would still be here otherwise. So, I mean, I think that's pretty much written in between the lines. It's going to happen one way or another. It's just a matter of when. So, I mean, hey, listen. It's a great time now. I mean, I know obviously a lot of people may still be scratching their heads with number 47 leaving, going that's going to hurt, but whatever, dude. Carter Trice is a real deal. I mean, like, we're gonna have a lot of offensive firepower.
Is it 4 players we have in actual MLB right now, or is it just the 3? Because you have Kisner.
Well, in the farm, like
not
like
in the pipeline, but actually in the show. In the show, yeah.
Is it
3 or 4?
Kisner. And
I was thinking the kid from the place with the Giants.
Will Wilson? Or Patrick Bailey?
Bailey, right? Is it Bailey? Or is he still working his way through?
He's in the majors.
I think he's still working his way through.
Okay, so it's probably 3 then.
But they're high on the list,
they are,
for sure.
Yeah. They got some AAA guys. So, well, actually, Denard, he made it.
Joe Denane
with
the Marlins.
Yeah, he had a cup of coffee last year. I don't know if he's going to be on the.
I think he got sent back down.
Yeah, I know he was up and down, but yeah. So we have two in the two definitely full timers, and then we got another 3 or 4 that are right on the cusp of being full timers. So that's probably never happened in the history of Pac baseball.
No, definitely nobody of this caliber of Trea Turner for sure.
Right.
I mean, dude, that dude's in a realm of his own right now within NCAA baseball galore. That's for sure. So, again, huge shout out to Trea Turner, huge shout out to Coach Rodon, shout out to Coach Ava and all these guys. NC State baseball, Justin Cook, our man, Justin Cook. I know he's smiling from ear to ear right now, because there's definitely never been a better time to be an NC State baseball fan now. That's for sure. So, now moving on to some women's basketball here. So we just got done actually talking about women's basketball beating Georgia 65-54. Again, that revenge game from last year, one of NC State's few losses at home, actually.
First time we've ever beaten Georgia. In women's basketball. Yeah, we were 0-9 before that. So
wow, that's a big stat. Cool.
Yep.
And then on top of that too, obviously beating number 10 Iowa, and ESPN obviously, they per ESPN, Caitlin Clark was just playing basketball. There wasn't any scores. It was just Caitlin Clark just making baskets. Like, who the heck knows who Iowa was playing.
That's what my tweet said. If it wasn't for the box score at the bottom of the game, you wouldn't have never known who played in it against Caitlin Clark. It was Caitlin Clark against some team in red.
Yeah, pretty much. And you say a team in red because that was just who you saw on the screen around Caitlin Clark. That was it.
That's all you didn't
say.
Yeah. So, but definitely got to talk a little bit about that game. Again, I mean, it was definitely a impressive game to say the least, especially since we started off pretty slow. And I mean, we were talking during the watch party, and for those who tuned in, I mean, Michael and I pretty much said, listen, we need Diamond Johnson, we need Sanaya Rivers, we need Camille Hobby to step up. And all 3 of those stepped up. Yeah. Sanaya Rivers had her breakout game for sure.
Would she have 22, I think?
She had 22, shot 9 for 11. She shot 9 for 11.
That's unconscious. Yeah. That's just crazy.
Yeah. And she was 3 for 4 from 3. I mean, and 2 rebounds, 5 assists. Again, I mean, just she finally was everything that we expected. Coming in as such a highly recruited talent, and obviously too on top of it with an obvious chip on her shoulder from how she left South Carolina. So finally seeing that, I was like, yes. That's what we've been waiting on. Finally.
And I'm going to add tonight against Georgia, a different player emerged, Mimi Collins.
Mimi Collins
best
had a big
game of her time over at State. She had 19 points. I mean, I think 8 rebounds. A lot of them were done at the free throw line, but a lot of them were just State won this game, in my opinion, with their interior play against Georgia.
Yeah.
Just watching it. And Mimi Collins, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist.
Well, and I think you can say part of that was due to Jada's absence, right? You needed someone to step up in Jada's absence. Yeah, which she did. Yeah, just going back to that Iowa game real quick. Caitlin Clark had her 44, 45 points, whatever it was. State had 5 players in double figures. So that's 50 points right there. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Iowa had another player in double figures other than Caitlin Clark, if my memory serves me correctly. I think they had one with 8, but I don't remember for sure.
That sounds correct to me. Yeah. I mean, pretty much, it was just Caitlin Clark versus NC State.
Yeah.
That was the game.
Yeah.
So, and again, I mean, first of all, again, obviously we're more hating on ESPN really than necessarily Caitlin Clark.
Played a hell of a game.
And they listen, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people might say the center from South Carolina,
Boston,
Aaliyah Boston. But Caitlin Clark, she's one of the best players I've ever seen.
But the difference is Aaliyah Boston has surrounding talent where you can arguably say that Caitlin doesn't. I mean, look, they've already got 3 losses and they were in the top 10 last week. You know, they're
Caitlin Clark was the number 10 team in the country.
It's the Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Clark fighting Hawkeyes.
She is the number 10.
Yeah.
I mean, she was just like launching threes.
But clearly, now State had to score 90-some points on the road,
which I think
was
like
that game,
like their highest
output. High scoring game.
That's a really challenging thing to do, and they did it. So
tough environment too. They had a good crowd. They had a nice crowd in there. So.
Well, and again, the beautiful thing which I loved is every single time Iowa made a 3 and we're like trying, like, you know, the crowd was getting up and they were trying to make a run, we would make a shot. That next shot every single time.
There was always an answer.
Every single time there was an answer. It was unbelievable. So, you know, again, it just goes back to, you know, that obviously there was a lot of worry with, you know, obviously NC State playing, you know, not well at all against UConn, going, you know, is this a story or is this just a blip on the radar?
Yeah, and that was another game with a slow start, right? And so it was the opposite of the UConn game. We never got back into it with UConn. UConn watching both games, UConn definitely has a lot more talent than Iowa. And the thing is UConn doesn't really rely solely on their outside shot, where Iowa put up a lot of threes, and they went cold in that second half. Like, they really went cold, other than Caitlin.
No.
So
Caitlin Clark literally attempted 28 threes.
Yeah, her stat line is pretty. Her stat line is crazy.
Sorry. 28 field goals, 13 threes. I apologize. I read that sideways. But still.
It felt like all of them were out. It felt like all of them were threes.
I mean, the fact that you believed me, I think says a lot.
I would have believed it, because it's. I mean, every time I turned around, she was putting up a big shot. So.
Do we even have her full stat line here? So she had 40. So I'm gonna pull this up here so I can find the full stat line for her. She had 45 points in 39 minutes. So that's really rare to see, guys. To even outscore your playing time, that's really hard to do. So she scored 45 points in 39 minutes. Okay, she had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 3. She had 4 turnovers. And all of her rebounds were defensive rebounds.
She had a lot of free throws too.
She shot 57.1%, which is 16 for 28. She was perfect at the free throw line.
How many did she shoot?
And she was 8
at least 10
free throws.
8
8 free throws.
It felt like 10.
She shot and she was 5 for 13, which 38.5%. Pretty good.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Pretty good.
So
pretty good. Just not bad.
Just to kind of wrap up a bow on women's basketball, we're off until Sunday. We have a 4-game homestand coming up. We have two out of conferences, and then as soon as the calendar turns over, we start our ACC slate with Duke at home. So it'll get a little bit tougher. I'm sorry, our first home. Oh, sorry, I lied. December 18th is our first ACC game against Clemson, and then Duke on December 29th, and then all ACC from there.
Yep, and then it gets rolling. So again, I mean, it's good to see different players get involved, and us again not having to rely on one player. Again, tonight you relied a lot on Mimi Collins and Camille Hobby. Last week we relied on a lot on Diamond Johnson and Sanaya Rivers. So again, I mean, it's a great team, and again, as long as whatever's happening with Jada Boyd is more, preventative really than necessarily any long term, which I mean I definitely see as a potential. That Westmore wins and I saying, hey, listen, Jada, we're just gonna chill you out, before ACC play in a couple of weeks, and just make sure you're 100%, and go from there maybe.
Yeah, we shouldn't need her for the next 2. I will say South Florida is going to be a good non-conference game too. That's an NCAA tournament team from last year. So
true.
Look,
but
you can't say anything about
at Reynolds
schedule.
Coliseum.
Yep.
Hopefully we should be able to take care of that with that. So again, just obviously excited about what's going on with women's basketball. So I think that's pretty much any other storylines I'm missing, y'all? I'm trying to keep them all track in my head, but
No,
I think that was pretty much it.
The big one's
Yeah.
just football. See what's going to
just
happen.
football, y'all. Which again, make sure we will definitely be doing a preview of the bowl game as we get a little bit closer here. So again, make sure to stay tuned for that, and also to again make sure to tune in for our Tuffy Talk live shows. Again, make sure again to tune in for our watch parties that we're going to be doing here for men's basketball here soon for sure. We're going to come out with the whole schedule for that. But again, thank you all so much again for tuning in. Really appreciate y'all support. Hope y'all enjoyed this, and also to make sure to let us know that you enjoyed this. If you wouldn't mind, hit that like button. That'll let us know that you enjoyed these episodes. And also too as well, one thing which I'll throw out there as well. If you ever have any recommendations on content that we could provide or things we could do, let us know. DM us. Our Twitter accounts, our Instagram accounts are open. Feel free to DM us or even send us an email, tuffytalk1617@gmail.com. Feel free to send us an email there. Always looking for insights. Again, at the end of the day, this is for Wolfpack Nation. Again, we love doing this and being a part of Wolfpack Nation. Hope y'all get some enjoyment out of this. Maybe learn a couple of things, which we're definitely no experts per se. Again, we're just 5 NC State fans here. The one other thing which I'll leave it on to, obviously, as you can see, one of our members, Mackenzie Blackwater, is still not with us here. She's obviously, still wrapped up, obviously with the tough times of the holidays after still just losing her father, Chad Blackwater, to cancer. So again, just if you wouldn't mind, continue your prayers, your thoughts for her and the Blackwater family. We'd really appreciate that as well. But thank you all so much again for joining us. We will see you all soon. And as always, go Pack, baby.